All right. Well, welcome to Breakthrough Conversations with Coach Pete, and I'm Gloria Lybecker. I just got back from a magical week with my daughter and her family. And there's so many different experiences that I got to experience, and they're still making themselves known to me. But what I wanted to bring up was, um, I don't know, there's something really beautiful about aging. And it's nothing I actually thought I was going to experience, going through life and getting older and becoming a quote senior citizen. And I always thought that, at first I thought when I turned 18 I'd be old. And then it was like 25 and then it was 30, and it's like, and now it's like, well, I'm 65 and I'm like, hey, I think I'm still a spring chicken. But the magic that's happening for me is actually stepping into more grace for my own self. And I'm recognizing that by witnessing the growth and development of my grandchildren and my children as they're stepping into being the parent. Um, my daughter invited me to have pictures taken with her and my grandchildren. And she goes, well, you ought to wear this, Mom, because you are the matriarch. And I'm like, ooh, I'm the matriarch.
That's heavy.
Well, it's big. It's like, well, I guess it's true, in my family,
It is. It is.
because my parents have passed. And yet there's something so important about stepping into your own truth and sharing your wisdom with others. And there's a quality of what is the words I'm trying to come up with? It's like I'm not in a rush for that, but I really want to be present and available when those opportunities present themselves. And I also am very conscious of aware that I do not wish to ever give advice to people. But I do love to share my own life experiences when they're open to hearing that. And it's going to be something that's in service of their life. I wonder, what's your experience around that? Just to have a little bit of a conversation, or what are you hearing? What's life for you in this?
Well, aging is fascinating. And
It is.
if you're lucky, you experience it.
Mm.
And if you're lucky, you experience more and more and more of it. And it's one of those things, your perspective, I think, kind of has to change over time. Maybe that's not true, but I think for a lot of people, just the aging alone, what you used to think was old. Like I had a little physical therapy session this morning. I'm graduating, working on my back and hips.
Yeah.
And this lovely, young, to me, young physical therapist is talking about herself a little bit. She's talking about her age. She says something about, well, I'm 32 now and I'm getting old. And she knew she was talking to me, okay? She's talking to a geezer. And I started laughing and she started laughing. But I understand what she's saying. When you're 32, all of a sudden, you can feel like you're aging and getting old. It's funny to somebody who's, more than twice that age, which is me. I mean, I'm 75 years old. I don't even like saying that, but it happens to be true, and I'm actually very proud of it. I'm quite healthy, and I think more aware of life, myself, and the world than I've ever been. And that's part of aging, I think. Aging openly, if you're open to change. You know what I'm saying? Not only a change
Absolutely.
body changes, but your mind, your attitude, your perspective changes, and that's so enriching and
Yes.
valuable. If this is my key to life, if you maintain your sense of humor.
Yeah, I just a slight change of that. I'd say when you do it is when you choose to do things, when you choose to actually take self-responsibility and you are monitoring your own life. You're paying attention to your life. You've talked many times about, growing your own self-awareness and taking self-responsibility and then following through and doing it and recognizing when we resist. I know my daughter was talking to me, we're talking about weight or whatever, and she's like, well, Mom, is there like a certain weight that you're looking for or something? Because that's not really health. I go, that's really true. It's not, it's more than what you weigh. It's what you eat, it's how much water you drink, it's what exercise you do, and it's what you put into your mind as well. Are you really aware of mind, body, and spirit of what you're about? And not just with yourself, but then also in your relationships with others. And so it really comes right first and foremost to me when I'm looking at my children and my grandchildren, because my children have always been my inspiration to allow myself to grow more so that I'm an influence in their lives that's really in service of life.
Yep. And you mentioned your grandchildren. And that's something that I
Mm.
have not, my wife and I have not been privileged with yet. And we may never. And parenting is so important to both of us. Little kids are so important to both of us. Child development, growth, learning, so important. So I was always looking forward to being Grandpa Pete. I mean, I couldn't, I said, oh, I know I'm going to love it. I can't imagine it. But I realized there's something else I realized through aging is that I don't have control over that. I don't get a vote. It's up to my two sons, you know? If they decide, well, then I'll have the privilege of being a grandfather, but not until then. And that's okay. And I learned to accept that. And that's true of a lot of things in my life is kind of, as you said, reflecting, thinking about things, and seeing things as life develops, as you go from one age and stage to the next. Life is filled with ages and stages.
It
And
is.
every age and stage is fascinating if we open ourselves up to it instead of the fear of it.
Why
Because
do we do it?
sometimes it causes some fear, like a new stage of life. Oh my God, how am I going to meet this challenge? But you kind of take a deep breath, you go through it. If you're lucky, you have a partner to work it out with and to reflect on each other and what's happening. And wow, what a learning experience as you go.
Yeah. Um, if not now, when? So I encourage people step into the now and really embrace your life, enjoy your life. And when there are fears, know that there is support available to you to be able to, pull that curtain back and recognize what's underneath that. And there are safe places that can support you to take those next steps anyway, because your life is worth it. It's important. It's important to step on in and allow yourself to shine.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? And getting the kind of help in order to process things as you're going through those ages and stages. I can't underscore that enough. I know how important it's been to me. I know how it's
Yeah.
important to my clients and to, as I hear your clients and other coaches that I communicate with. It's so important. You're not in it alone.
No, we were created for relationships, so we do need to really nurture those relationships of trust.
Yep.
So, well, thanks, Coach Pete. I sure enjoy our conversations, and I look forward to the more that we're going to have.
Onward.